It's a lazy day here at the Welch family stead. The fact that it's coming down in buckets ain't helping matters. So I headed down to Half Price Books to see if there was any little-known games for a decent price, but like it always is, it was 50% 40K books from previous editions that nobody wants to buy, 40% Pathfinder books, of which there were 20 copies of just 5 different books, and 10 books left that were just supplemental books for long-dead games nobody played. So I'm sticking with my schedule for the Mad Musings with the wonderfully comedic Teenagers from Outer Space. I'm Mr. Welch, and it's time to flash back to the dream where you're in your underwear in the middle of high school again. Teenagers from Outer Space, or more affectionately just Tifos, is a comedy RPG by our Talosorian Games dating back to 1987. It's written by Mike Pondsmith, the same guy that gave us Cyberpunk 2020, and the same guy that's giving us Cyberpunk 2077, so I will wait patiently for my Teenagers from Outer Space 2077. There's 3 different versions of the game, but the changes are minor, so it doesn't really matter which one you pick up. There's a few third-party adventures for the game, but it's largely just a one-book wonder. But what a wonder it is. The plot for Tifos is paper thin. The best summation I've ever heard is 1 second in the future the aliens attack, 2 seconds into the future we counterattack, 3 seconds into the future we surrender, 4 seconds into the future the Earth pulls out its surprise victory, 5 seconds into the future the aliens surrender, and 6 seconds into the future we start bussing. The entire setting is in a high school where humans and aliens of all sorts try to get through what's essentially a typical high school, with tons of anachronistic classes, jokes, and several repeated memes that are individualized for each student. Every student has both parents along with an annoying younger sibling, which makes it really funny when you're playing a xenomorph, a teenager. Your mother's the queen alien, and your annoying little brother Jimmy is a facehugger. You've got a car, but unless you've got enough money, it's going to be a used, rundown heap of junk that your parents gave you. Gym class doubles as Marine Corps boot camp. The local mall has a walk-in Death Star by the food court. Any attempt to get some will be thwarted by either parents, authority figures, or just have the laws of physics inconveniently breaking down at the wrong time. Oh, and nobody can die. That's the golden rule. If you take enough damage to be fatal, instead you just stand there and look foolish or embarrassed for a number of turns equal to your negative bonk, after which you completely heal. Continuity is sacrificed on the altar of funny for Tifos. There's 4 types of students at the high school. You've got stock humans, near humans, which are like Vulcans and Catgirls, not very near humans like E.T. or Elcor, and the real weirdies, which are whatever you can imagine. There's no rules for race creation. Everybody is equal, though aliens and humans get different powers. Alien powers are things like teleporting, fire-breathing, and hulking out, while humans get powers like lots of money, super cute, or have everyone in the known universe on your speed dial. This leads to one of my very minor gripes about the game. Humans have a good chance of having no powers, which isn't that funny. Make sure everybody gets at least 1 power at the start of the game. There's 8 stats in the game, and the mechanics are default stat plus skill. Stats can go up and down depending on what's funny. You have smarts, bod, driving, cool, luck, looks, relationship with your parents, and bonk. The last one's just hit points. Then you've got your knacks or skills, and those are left up to you. You start off with 1d6, which doesn't sound like many, but don't worry, those numbers don't stay low for long. You can have simple skills like fix car and know stuff, all the way up to dodge everything while standing still or transcend the laws of natural science. Just be careful, because the crazier you make a knack, the more likely it will literally blow up in your face. After you get your character built, you have to create your schedule or let the GM do it for you. Of course, the classes quickly go off the rail. Everybody starts with homeroom, so the party will always start together. Then it's off to classes like brain surgery and other minor medical techniques, quantum mechanics, unobtainium and U, advanced death ray construction, and home ec. The funnier the course, the better. The game plays on a lot of teenage jokes that will always be relevant. If you get a rundown car, you know for certain your bitter rival is going to have the latest BMW R5 billion luxury hover car. Of course, if you try to key his car, it turns into a transformer who's also the star running back of the space football team. To win the cheerleader away from the jerk, you have to beat the running back in the illegal street race that evening. Of course, you can always try to hook the running back up with the talking sentient space fax machine that he's been trying to ask out for space prom, so there's always an adventure hook somewhere. One aspect of the game that adds to its humor is that nothing is permanent. Adventures are more like 30-minute sitcoms or morning cartoons. If you blow up the school, mall, or malt shop, it will be completely rebuilt in the next episode. Send your teacher into the sun on a rocket ship with no brakes, back next morning asking for that homework you should have been doing instead of rocket sled races through the Iowa State House. Now, the players will certainly try, but you have to be creative in frustrating them. Have the replacement school fall from the sky directly on top of the ruins of the old one. Have it vwomp in like the TARDIS. Have the janitor start blowing up a massive balloon shaped like the school. The mall turns into liquid metal, pulls back together, and reforms a la Terminator 2. Keep the jokes fresh. Frustration is a major part of the game's humor. There's no sex. No matter how hard you try, something will always interrupt you. Your dad walks in. Her mom walks in. Your dad and her mom walk in. Your date gets leaped into by Dr. Samuel Beckett. Kirk beams down to put the moves on her. The police show up. An Adeptus Astartes drop pod lands on the roof of your car, and you have to give directions to a thoroughly lost squad of screaming gecko space marines. Or in the middle of a particularly steamy makeout session, an APC breaks through the far wall of your den while Hicks, Hudson, Vasquez, and Drake make their escape from the kitchen door to the APC, only for your date to use bug spray to kill the xenomorph that just pops out of the laundry basket before Vasquez can blast it and spray you, your date, Drake, and your dad's prize stuffed moose head with acid. Of course, after the Colonial Marines make their getaway, your dad comes down to see what the racket is. Yeah, that was a pretty messed up session, Dave. The game lives and dies on spontaneity. Fortunately for all, there's just too many jokes lying around with the concept of an intergalactic space high school for the party to be bored for long. The game was retooled to have a more anime feel, but that's not mandatory to appreciate the game. It's just as easy to take any science fiction movie and merge it with any high school coming-of-age story. Merge the funnier parts of 2001: A Space Odyssey with Better Off Dead. The AV Club gets dropped off at the Satellite of Love. You show up to your advanced poetry class and the teacher's a Vogon. There's just too much material for this game not to be funny. One change you need to make to increase the humor of the game is to increase the XP given. Normally, at the end of the game, every player gets voted on from 0 to 3 on how funny they are. Take the average, and that's your XP gain. Well, don't just hand out a paltry amount of XP at the end of the game. Vote on every single joke. Everybody in the game has the cards from 0 to 3. The minute somebody tells a joke and somebody thinks that joke is worth XP, they hold up one of the cards telling you how much XP they get. Everybody throws up their card, you average it out, round down, and that's how much XP they get right then and there. Players get XP constantly. The funnier they are, the more XP they get. That's the theme of the game. Try to be funny. You're not power gaming TIFOs. If you roll too well, the game actually punishes you as things go horribly right. The more knacks and abilities the players get, the funnier they become. You're playing this game for jokes, so the funnier the character, the better the game. Getting the game's easy. It's still in print. It's $20 at Artal's website. The modules are a little harder to find, but you don't need them to play. It's not like there's a continuity for the setting. It does give you actual paper money in the back. You'll need to photocopy it and cut it out, or just go down to the Michaels and buy a pack of fake paper money. And comedy games thrive on props. If you've got $20 and you're looking for something quick and fun to play with friends when the actual game is called off, grab Tifos. You can't go wrong. Now, I was looking at Renegade Legion's Legionnaire for the next review, but I was asked by my friends at FASA to hold off on that one because it's kind of an old shame for the company. So I'll be moving that one a little bit further down the line. That one won't be done until much later, depending or not if they can meet my list of demands. So instead, I'm going to be taking out a local product, the steampunk RPG Tephra, which around here is known better for how not to kickstart a game. So until next time, remember, even if the game is death-free, if you tell the game master your character is named Sing Sing the Singly Sentient Singularity, real life isn't death-free.